So what we're looking at here is probably one of the most important problems on the skills review exam. This type of problem is going to show up throughout the rest of your PACE course life. So no matter how many PACE courses you're doing, you're going to see a lot of problems that look exactly like this one. And so I have a saying that I use for it, and it will seem silly at first, but believe me, by the time you get through this class, and if you watch more of my videos, you're gonna love this saying, and you'll be saying it all the time. This is what I refer to as a something equals something setup. And so why I just call it something equals something is because throughout all of our PACE courses, what the two somethings are going to change all the time. The equations will look different, but the process that we use to solve any problem that we can identify as a something equals something is going to be the exact same every single time. And so what we do on a something equals something problem is we're going to take the first something, which is this portion of the equation, and we're going to shove that into y1 on our calculator. We're going to take the second something, and we're going to shove that into y2 on our calculator. After that, you're going to want to go ahead and graph the equation. And if you're not in a Zoom 6, which is the Zoom standard window, that's probably a great place for you to start. You're going to have to start learning as you go along how to adjust your window better, and we'll talk more about that on more difficult problems. But early on, the Zoom standard should work a lot of the time for us. And so after we hit graph, we're then going to want to go through the steps of second, and then calc, and then number 5, intersect. And so the place where any two graphs are equal to each other, which is what we're looking for here, is where they intersect each other because they share a common point. And conveniently, our calculator will calculate those intersects for us all day, every day. So we're going to go ahead now and pull up our TI-84 calculator. And again, you're just going to want to go into your y equals to start. And in y1, I'm going to type in the first equation. So 3x plus 9 minus, and in parentheses, 7x plus 3, and then close that parenthesis. So there's our first something. And then down in y2, we want to put our second something. So 5x minus 6. And again, after you've got those entered in, you just want to hit graph. And there's our two graphs. And you can see right in the middle of the screen there is where the intersect is happening. And so what we're going to do is we're going to hit second, and then the calc button, which is up above the trace there on the very top row. So we'll hit trace, and then we're looking for number 5 intersect, so we want to hit number 5. And then it's going to ask us a set of 3 questions. It'll be the same 3 questions every time. The first 2 questions we could really care less about. It's asking us, is this the first curve? And you'll see that it's on the blue curve, and it's telling us that's our first curve. So yep, that's our first curve. So just hit enter on that. It's then going to ask us for our second curve, and again, conveniently it switches over for us, and so we're only ever going to have 2 curves. So yep, hit enter on that. And then the last thing is it wants us to guess. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to scroll our little cursor until we're closer to the intersect. And once we're close to the intersect, we just go ahead and hit enter again. And so then what we see out of here is that our x value is going to be our answer. So the x value in this situation is 1.333. So our answer here would be x equals 1.333. Depending upon the problem that you get, it'll ask you to round it to several different types of decimal places. So always just be careful before you enter your final answer in that you round it to the number of decimal places that they ask you to. This one I'm just going to round to 3 decimal places, so my answer would have been 1.333.